through all these years of, let's say, researching the market, engaging with social entrepreneurs, non-governmental organizations, we came to understanding that the problem is bigger than life, bigger than an individual, bigger than one organization to solve, and even bigger than the current organizations that are already installed. Therefore, I have taken the step to initiate the organization, the Global African Innovation Association. And the short abbreviation is Gaia. And maybe if one of you know mythology, you know we Africans, we love mythological stories about gods, pantheons of deities that tend to our imagination, but also to our ancestry. And if you look at Europe, when I was in Europe, I was always interested in mythology because it reflected a bit to where I'm from. So I thought it was beautiful to name the organization in abbreviation Gaia, because Gaia means in Greek mythology, Mother Earth. And which place is, let's say, the nourishing ground for the human race?
Africa.
Exactly. Therefore, Gaia is a really, let's say, a metaphor in honor of Mother Africa. And with Global Hub, we want to represent a place where everybody can feel at home. So everybody can tend to themselves, can understand itself, can connect, and can share the knowledge that you all individually have to make a bigger force. But before we go into what Gaia really does, I would like to give you a small introduction to what the perspective is, what we're looking at when we're looking at Africa and its challenges. So let me proceed to delve into the PowerPoint. So, first, we're going to talk, I gave already a brief introduction about what Gaia is a bit, and I'm going to give you a bit introduction about African challenges in global perspective, government, entrepreneurial, innovative solutions, or innovative, actually a question mark. We're going to dive into introduction to social entrepreneurial innovative solutions. Thank you. Which will tend to a little to the general questions we have if we talk about African development, the African dream, which if we look at the broader spectrum, is actually a question mark, because what is the African dream? May I ask one of you that question? Maybe to you. Do you know what an African dream is? Yeah. Pardon? Oh yeah. What is for your definition the African dream? Can you tell a little bit about that?
African dream, one is to unite and also to make our place a better place to stay.
I think that's a beautiful summary. But do you think that everybody share the same notion as if I say the American dream? You understand what I mean? Because if you say the American dream, people usually know exactly what you mean. But if you say the African, on that a little as well. And then afterward, questions and discussions shortly. So I will keep it brief. So introduction, African challenges and global perspectives. What does that mean? Since the 1600s, since the coming of the Portuguese to Africa, it has caused a disruptive influence to Africa, which is connected to the globalization. What does that mean? It means that in the 1600s, before the Portuguese and the Netherlands and the English came, Ghana, or the Gold Coast as we know it at that time, and even prior we called it the Kabbalah, because that's the original name of Africa. We had the same economical prowess as Europe. People from Europe, kings from Africa, Congo, the ability to come and help us, that they will truly help us. But the fact is, there's 15 years of aid which has failed completely. Wow, the multinationals relentlessly engage in getting the resources everywhere. We know stories of Nigeria about oil. We know about Provo Koala in Ghana with a toxic, let's say, ship that they break down where thousands of people went sick. Something they can never justify in America, in Europe, but they do it here. Why? Because perpetual children force effects. Coming back to another aspect, and that is our own problem, that is the perpetual internal conflicts. Why? Because the borders have been drawn, structures have been made to think that we're different, while we're in the bigger scheme of things, we're the same people. And another part of this, what we're missing is that when they came with Christianity. And I know it's a very dubious and slippery path to walk on, but Christianity is not African. People say it come from Ethiopia, but the first Ethiopian king gave access to the Christian beliefs as first. So it was never African, it was imported. So regardless of that, it is about to understand your past, to understand what type of ownership you want for the future as the African dream that we want. So the consequence thereby is a disruption in demographic structures, economic, political fields, demographic, and all the, it's going to be covered by other brilliant speakers today, so I'm not going into that. There's a global impoverishment of the region for decades. There's a destabilization, dehumanization, and marginalization. So, the Western perspective, how do we look at that? Because we have to look at two different things. Because we have a dream, but they have a dream as well. So, the Western structure is that the inclusivity of development needs to be a global approach. That is their narrative. But the fact is that the Western economic framework is built on the resources of emerging markets, and mainly Africa. If we look at the political right, they are very negative about helping Africa for ages. If we look at the political left, they are really willing, but they lack performative power to really make a difference. So it's like one hand saying, I'll give you, while the other hand is taking all. And that's a bit of the structure and the way we are getting them. The most African countries are getting them. It's not a common thing to say, but it is the fact that we have to face. There's a focus on the effect instead of the cause. And the cause is this, the framework of the Western society. Actually, that needs to change. There's a lack of inclusive developmental and international approach. People are focused on policies. We can fill, I think, the Victoria late with all the policies in the world regarding social change. But what needs to be done, actually, is action-driven, action-led. And that is not something that we like to talk about. We love policies more than whatever. So that is, let's say, the Western perspective. If we look at, let's say, the global structures, we tend to those perspectives in the illusion of harmonizing things between emerging markets and let's say, mature market. It's of course the World Bank brought to you by Bretton Woods, IMF tending to a healthy financial structure, but in fact usually have more of a bias to Western countries than the African countries. If we look at European Union, they have beautiful, let's say, treaties and engagements, but they have such a huge trade blocks that we cannot export, let's say, star beer there because there are so many regulations to apply to that it's very difficult for African companies to go into the Western market. Well, we lost chicken feet, stew. They're dumping it all on the market and making, let's say, the chicken farmers going obsolete. We had a different, if you look at the notion, there are different aspects of, let's say, goals that they put, like sustainable development goals, which is now. But prior it was a millennium goal. And if the sustainable goals is not met, then it's going to be called a different way. Regardless, it's always policy driven and not action driven. That's what I'm intending to say. Of course, we have also UN Migration Pact in the perspective level, in the high perspective level, because if you look at West, if Africa look at West, they think about, if I go to Europe, I can make money, I can be someone, let's say, reputable. But the Western society are not waiting for Africans. That's a fact. So they have made an agreement, this pact with different countries such as Libya and etc. The approach is nice, but the actual fact is that North African countries are being supported to hold off African immigrants. And African immigrants pay thousands of euros just to get on a little boat, what you see at the introduction, to go to Europe with threat of their own lives. The reality remains, we are struggling in any ways, unfortunately. So, what are the more tricky, intricate structures that are in place that keep us alleviated? I'm getting a bit into the details, but bear with me. These things are not, people are not aware to that, but these are very crucial in economic development because you can have justice, but if you don't have economic means, you're still broke, you're still struggling. In this current pact, there are a lot of countries have economic partnership agreements to trade. They have trade agreement, multilateral agreement, bilateral agreement with a certain specifics which engage with countries on one term or on multiple terms. These agreements, however, are very tricky. You know why? Because if you fail to abide by these agreements, they're gonna pull you to the international law in Den Hague and make you pay as a country. People don't know that, but that's the structure that is in place. There are brilliant examples in South America in which a government had an economic crisis, need to stop certain elements of their governmental management. A commercial partner has sued them to pay up their loss by the action of the government, but the government is tending to their own people. So these things are very tricky, but people do not know that. So Well, of course, people know we have if we look at ourselves, if we look at European, we have, of course, common agricultural structure. Agriculture is the basis of economy. But what is it in Europe? Agriculture everywhere in Europe is getting financed so much that African farmers cannot compete to that because you just do not have the money. You're not getting money from the government to make your, let's say, agriculture efficient. So, then we go to the African itself. We have an African initiative, African Union, of course, and the community, SADC, COMESA, and ECOWAS. We all know ECOWAS, we are very in it. And I think 4 years ago, there was a treaty that there is free trade for money, person, and product. We haven't seen the real effect because at the border, you still need to show your passport. It's still a struggle. And even so, I need to have multiple SIM cards to be able to traverse through countries. So it's very ineffective. We had this slide before. So, what is the so then we come fast forward to, okay, we have those three relations. What I'm telling you actually is that there is a perception of that the West can help, but at the end of the day, Africa needs to do it by herself. We need to take ownership, and we cannot look at other countries, other continents anymore to say, we want change, can you help us? They don't help us because they have benefits, they have reasons to do otherwise. So therefore, we would need a common vision, a common ideal, common thing to get to assemble together and to see what Africa can do. And therefore, you need a form of a unified collective identity, which can be seen as a dream, or as a metaphor, as a dream. So this is the reason why we mentioned we have teamed this event as such. So I already asked you what the African dream was. I think your answer is nice. If we break it down what a dream can be divided in ethos. Ethos is a Greek word for character. And character is a set of belief, ideas, guiding principles about the social behavior and relationship of a person or a group. A dream entails also an intangible future value that you're trying to attain, which is a dream contains something visionary and metaphysical. You can feel a certain reality which cannot be fully captured, but only felt. And therefore, what is the prerequisites for our dream to be facilitated? One, of course, political stability and most importantly, branding. Because if you look at Africa, it's mostly, let's say, negative way that they're being portrayed. So you see a lot of poverty, famished people, famished children, while if you go to Osu, if you go to a bit, search a bit, you have the most beautiful places in Accra where you can tend to. If you go to Rwanda, you have beautiful cities. So it is a bit one-sided. We need an infrastructural development. As you know, the roads are terrible, but I don't have to tell you that. We need an intracontinental trade because people don't understand that the power of America and Europe and China is the unity, not the separation. Next to that, we need the international trade and regulation, such as the new Cotonou Treaty that interacts not only with the Africans, but also the African diaspora in the Caribbean, because those people are also our people. And those people in the communities face the same issues as we have. Therefore, we need a legislative reforms to improve the investment climate. And Ghana is doing well, although it's a bit of a challenge now due to the inflation that occurred, like 50% and all other issues. But Ghana is doing respectively better than a lot of West African countries. And not to forget research and development investments to boost our IT, our information technology to the next level. Entrepreneurial innovative solutions, what does that mean? That is opportunities that we get if we solely focus on IT, because that's the reason that you came here for, is we want to see what we can, IT and innovation, we want to see how can we innovate ourselves in a frugal way, in a smart way. And how can we use digitization to transform the informal economy? Because, as you may know, a large part of the economy is informal. What does that mean? The government has less tax, so it means there's less money to invest in roads and infrastructural projects. And that's a fact. We all love the hustle, all love the little money, but it has also its consequence on the stability of the society that we're trying to raise. Apart from that, we need a solution focusing on African challenges, which are scalable. A lot of initiatives are focused on Africa, but because they are so African-centric, you cannot sell those items abroad, application abroad. So we need to think about a way to scale that as well. So what does that mean? A frugal innovation and business model, uniting fragmented informal markets, investment in tech startup, business development and intelligence, hubs that open space for innovations, new frontier in outsourcing. Why? Because we have the capabilities to be, let's say, the new India or new Poland. Why can Africa not have companies here to stable, to be here and to be tend to as an outsourcing party for the Western companies? Why not? I think it's a great opportunity. We are in the same time zone. We speak English very well compared to maybe some of the Indian people that might be harder to understand. And we're relaxed people. We love to tend to work with people. So that should work. It's a bit of a repeat, apologies. So, then we come to the global hub. What can the global hub do for you in this respect? The global hub is an organization which aims to create an inclusive infrastructure of entrepreneurs, knowledge institutes, businesses, and governmental bodies, whereby we can transform innovative ideas into impactful projects and businesses in Africa and across the globe where communities of African diaspora reside, just like us. The global hub will support, of course, individual startups, small SMEs, knowledge institute to thrive and grow. We have our headquarters in Amsterdam, where I'm from, of course, and we are. This event is to showcase for you guys what we can do and what we can offer you. Apart from that, we have a nice team in the background, and they're helping out today to make this day work. So I'm happy that you all can come here. Furthermore, we have also a couple of services that we offer. These are our focus points, but not limited to that. Is consultancy services. We help people to build up their businesses. We have different showcases, different examples that we can show about businesses that were thriving due to our involvement. Our goal, and that's where you guys are here for, is to set up a research development and learning center in which we can provide digital skills and innovations. What that entails, I will come back to that later. We also like to have an incubator program for individuals to support them in startup. So if you have a brilliant idea, you're already on the road, you need a boost, you can come to us. We have a network that can tend to you to get to the next level. So when we look at further, we have a workspace facility that we are arranging for you to work, to come together and assemble. Just to wrap it up a bit, a global infrastructure or professional bodies is what we try to create. Why infrastructure? Because we think that infrastructure stands about a network is to your own volition how you use it. And we want to change that perception. And we want to create an infrastructure that you all can tend to and can use, just like the roads. Furthermore, one thing that is important is pioneering leadership. If you don't have a good leader, then there won't be a way to bring change forward. So we want to create that safe space for you to be guided, and whereby we can also advocate the African diaspora progress and to have them be incorporated in global discourse. I'm not going to attend to that because due to time. So what is our business model? Our business model is that we are a commercial entity that is not depending on the government support. The reason why is at this point, a lot of innovation hubs struggling to stand up because they are just not able to get the right money or have the right set of policies to get the money from the government, which is a big issue. We want to be independent, so we want to not only help businesses, but we want to create innovative products and services as well with our partners and with individuals. We want to be an investment matchmaking entity and help with crowdfunding activities as well. And we want to be a power broker. What does that mean? You can say a lobbyist, somebody that connects you to other parties to level up. That's basically what we would like to do. What is it in a pipeline? Research, development, and learning. We want to start up a startup app that by using your mobile phone, you will know from A to Z how to set up your company. Instead of Googling on social media or on Facebook or on Google to find bits of information to understand how entrepreneurship works. We'd like to start a fintech app which is globally used. We have different fintech, we have Momos, but they're not used in Europe. So you have to use different applications that make it work. Furthermore, one of the biggest issues in Africa, West Africa, is registry, ownership. How can I understand, how can I get to understand what is mine and what is yours? In Togo, for instance, somebody can sell your house. You will be like, what? It is really true. So we want to create a platform that people can use to register their belongings, whether it's a car, a house, or whatnot. And it can be, and therefore we can use blockchain. Blockchain is an ideal structure to do so. So we're looking into all these things to tend to your needs. This is going to be the last slide for me. What do we do currently? As I said, we are doing, currently we're focusing on consultancy services. We have started in May, let's say officially with let's say, tending, but we already have a lot of pilots already set in. We will look into your plan and tend to. We are also setting up an IT programming course as of 2024. where we're gonna teach you how to program and how to be a developer, a high-end developer. A lot of people know a bit about coding, but it takes more effort and more insight to fully understand the broad reach of how to be a good developer and to program in such a way that if you leave the company, the other person that feels in your shoes will understand what you have done. Most people, what we get is mostly scattered, and we try to unify the knowledge. Furthermore, we are doing a survey of 500 individuals to understand your needs. So later this day, we're going to give you a survey to fill in to understand what your preferences are and to also attend to you. Let me quick, of course, regarding the service that we have, you need to have a good tool to be able to program. We have service providers that can provide us laptops, and we want to offer that within Ghana because we have a network in Europe with good quality, so that you can also have a good quality electronics to be able to program adequately. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. So my question is, will you guys become part of the movement? Yeah? Yes. Brilliant. Then I would say, are there any questions for me? Yeah. Please.
Thank you. Please, I'm from Maui, and I'm saying this because I have companies, startup companies that come around, that do IT with the girls, the people in Maui, so they just do a one-day thing. They introduce us to the thing and we are gone. So sometimes you have the knowledge, you can't practice it, and when you get to where you have to actually practice it, you have to pay and it becomes a problem. So I want to know what you guys are really offering.
What we offer, I think it's a good question. What we offer is simply an approach in which you will see, we will guide you from A to Z. So we will start with, let me start off first. Continuity is one of our unique selling points. Because what we notice is that it's always one-offs, two-offs, and then it's done. There's no merit to be had in that approach, and people will not benefit from it. So our goal is a long-term relationship with you and yours. So if you want to be a part, if you want to start an organization, first we're going to do an assessment about your plan and idea, and then we're going to assess it. We're going to go through a questionnaire to understand if you have the right knowledge as well, because our time is valuable as well. So when we have that right assessment, then we will proceed to the next phase. Then we're going to start writing a business plan with you, not for you, because you need to understand how it means to be an entrepreneur. So you got to understand how it means to create a plan. Because when we're gone in 3 years, we still need to do it. So we're going to guide you through that process. We're going to tell you how to, show you how to make a marketing plan, a financial plan, go about the business, operational setup, meeting financiers, meeting service level service providers to engage. And we can do it through, let's say, the startup app that we're trying to develop together with our partners. And that will, for instance, help you not only to still stay in touch with us, but also to get knowledge in case you need it immediately. Does that help? Great. Are there any other questions? Go ahead.
So with helping start a business, sometimes people have the idea, they have a prototype of everything they want to do, but getting financial support is a problem. So with your program, would you get maybe some sponsors or potential business investors alongside so that if maybe the person has a business plan and has a layout and everything, you can link up or
We're setting up the ecosystem. So one of the important things that we said is that we want to create a network. Important is that we want to create an ecosystem with different individuals and organizations which can tend to your needs, and which are also, of course, investment entities. And moreover, we're busy with a fintech solution. The short version is a crowdfunding. If you were, for instance, ask, you have an idea, we post it on our website, we promote it in the West. 20 euros is a different value in Ghana than in Europe. And this is our frugal way of thinking how to get step by step towards a goal which can facilitate your financial needs. These kind of actions will help you to at least have a starting capital, and eventually, if you're progressing in your business life cycle, we will tend to you as well with other levels of competitors. Because at the beginning, no big investors will invest in you. That is a fact. So you need to have different ways of financial structure. I think my time is also running up. But I'm going to have one more question and I'm going to wrap it up.
My name is Alfred.
Nice to meet you.
I'm from Benin, based in Ghana. In Benin, I studied 19, but not enough how it's supposed to be. But I think this is the opportunity for me to learn more.
Yeah.
And I'm also founder of many companies. The CEO of my construction company. Also, I want to also know about the leadership because I'm a leader. I have a lot of team dynamics.
Yeah.
So our leadership, know more about it. So.
But that would be nice. I would say let us be in touch. We can share, let's say, contact, and for everyone, feel free. My contact is on a flyer, so you can reach me directly. And let's have a conversation and see what we can mean to each other. Is that okay?
Also, I'll take this opportunity to tell some people that I also create one organization where we are teaching French for Ghanaians, because in Ghana I see that a lot of people, students, don't want to, or they have a harsh French teacher, so if they hear about French, they don't want it anymore.
Yeah,
so I create that organization to teach French for students, for adults. So if somebody is interested, so after the second comes to me.
Of course. You all heard it. If people are interested, please revert to what's your name again?
Alfred.
Alfred, for French lessons and maybe even more. I need to round up. Time is of the essence. I'm already past my own time. So, I hope you all enjoyed the presentation and become a bit wiser, or at least it matches your reference. And I'm going to give the floor to the next presenter, which is, of course, Emmanuel.